Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another video. Today's one is, ooh, tasty, yummy, and we're about to go deep into some spiritual, life-changing stuff. As you've probably already noticed from the timestamp and the timeline, this is going to be quite a long one today. So get comfy. Either of you guys are watching this, settling down for a viewing, then go grab yourself a nice drink and some comfy clothes. Or maybe you're also listening to this while you're working out, while you're on a walk or doing some cardio. Let me know in the comments, how are you experiencing this video right now? So to give you guys a little bit of an intro, a very beautiful woman reached out to me, beautiful inside and out. She reached out to me last week offering to give me a tarot reading. And we both thought it would be a beautiful idea to completely raw and uncut share this experience on YouTube for you all to be able to watch. Great, lovely to meet you here on Zoom.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Yes.
So I'm very excited about this tarot reading that we're going to be doing together today. And for everyone watching, hi everyone, welcome back. I'm sure that a lot of you who are subscribed to my channel are familiar with tarot reading, or maybe you love getting readings yourself, or maybe some of you are tarot readers also. I'm actually, Rhiannon, I'm actually pretty new to tarot. So I don't think I've had a tarot reading done for me in my adult life. I think,
Really?
no, I remember my mum had a friend who was a white witch, and I used to love it when she got her cards out, and it was sort of more just as a fun little thing that I'd watch as a child. So this is really, really new to me.
Oh, amazing. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So
I sort of assumed that you've had it done several times for some reason. So yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, some oracle cards and stuff, but that's not quite the same, is it?
No, it's really not. Oracle cards they're very positive, and I find that the oracle cards don't want to go to the shadow stuff. They don't want to talk about the more negative real life. It's more about guidance from higher beings to me, oracle cards. And okay. The tarot, like, it can get gritty, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So where are the answers coming from with tarot cards?
That is an interesting question. That's the question. There are actual meanings assigned to each card, and it took me years to learn all of the meanings of the card. So there's a process that you go through of memorizing, like that's one way that you can do it. But what I found happened for me, and what I hear a lot of people say, is once you get used to reading the cards, messages actually do come from, I couldn't even tell you where. I think it's higher self, divine beings. I'm not really sure, but I do hear names, and I get dates, and I'll get a scene. A lot of times the way it comes to me actually is I'll actually see something, a flash of like somebody moving into a house or whatever. And I think what it is we're all connected at that subconscious mind level. So I'm just tapping into your part of that, your subconscious mind, and giving you feedback on that. Yeah, that's what a reading really is. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you get into it? What's your story of your tarot journey?
Oh boy. Okay. So when I was like 8 or 9, I was on the school bus, and my friend pulled out this tarot deck. I didn't know at the time that's what it was, but I was drawn, like falling in love. I don't know if you've ever had it happen where you just saw someone and you were just magnetized across the room. Like, I just needed to know what it was. And I had my friend come over, and we played with them, like probably throughout that whole year. And then suddenly, I really don't know how, I just acquired a deck. Like, it was just in my life. I have no idea who it was from. I was probably like 14. So I learned from that deck and just reading for other people and reading the book that came with it. There was no internet back then.
Mm.
And then I got to a point when I was like 17 years old, I started doing it professionally. And then it's just been a love of mine since then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
So I'm in good hands then.
Yes, it's been a long time. I'm 41, so it's been, I don't know, over 20 years that I've been reading professionally. Yeah.
Great. Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how do we do this? You guide me through this.
Okay, I can just start. We can either do a general reading, and it will take however long it takes. Like,
Right.
I usually just talk for like the first 15 minutes, and whatever comes out is like what needs to come out. And then we can do questions. So we can do either general or on a specific topic. If you have something you want to focus on, we can do that.
And so the objective was, or the outcome is to end up receiving answers to questions that I want to learn about, or is it like predicting the future, or what's the outcome?
So it depends. I do a lot of general readings, and I have people think of questions beforehand, like I asked you to do, because at the end of readings, when I say, what questions do you have for me? People, they don't have questions. They just draw blank. So I ask them to think of questions beforehand. But
Yeah.
usually just a general reading, and I just tell you what it is that I see, whatever comes up, and then we talk. So the future prediction, well, it's a lot like the law of attraction, actually, and has a lot to do with that. There are infinite possibilities, as I'm sure you know.
Right. I'm glad we're talking about this first.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I feel that there are infinite possibilities, and with every decision you make, even the little ones, you are choosing different possibilities for the future. So all that the tarot does when it comes to future prediction is tells you where you're headed right now and where you're likely to be if you don't change something. And unfortunately, people get so stuck in their patterns that a lot of times the tarot cards are right because they just can't change. They're stuck. They're habitual. They're in that habitual mind.
Yeah.
So that's the prediction thing. But you don't have a mind that is stuck. Like, you're very interested in changing and growing, and you know that you create your future. So any of the future cards that come up, we'll just work with them if they're negative and bring it to a better place. That's the way that I work.
That is super interesting because, yeah, I think sometimes sometimes people feel like there might be a bit of a contradiction between people who sort of like talk about having one destiny and being able to look into the future as if it's fixed and only one way that it's going to go. And then the law of attraction is all about how you create your own reality and that we constantly are. So it's really interesting to hear the way you're explaining the tarot reading. Is it's more almost like being able to do a kind of checkup of like, where am I going vibrationally? Am I on the right track? Could I make any tweaks, any micro adjustments so that, what do they say? Like when they fly to the moon, that you're like off course, something like 98% of the time. And it's constantly about retweaking so that you get where you want to get to.
Totally. That's
like that?
100% it. Yes. And what I do is I help people to tweak. So I say, this is a possibility if you continue to think and act in these ways, in your patterns, but this is what we can do. And then I pull other cards and say, you know, this is step 1, step 2, you should look at this, whatever it is. I don't want to leave them in a place that is negative. I definitely don't want to plant the seed of, you're going to get sick, you're going to break up, you're going to have this thing happen, because that's powerful. And I don't want that power to create a negative outcome in somebody's life. So I want to give them always steps to move toward something positive. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
I'm not
great.
scared. Yeah.
Yeah, because it can be a bit scary. Like I was a little bit nervous thinking, oh gosh, what's gonna happen? But that's nice to know that, it's all solution focused.
Yeah. I mean, how disempowering is it for somebody to just say, this is what's going to happen, and does not suck? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I always want my clients to be empowered. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Empower
Awesome.
me, Ree.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So is Lucy your birth name, or is
Yeah.
that okay? All right. So your general circumstances, what is coming up that's most important in your life right now? Is, first of all, possibly going back to school. There's some writing involved in your life right now. So writing a book or writing blog posts, definitely, like, I see a lot of writing. And something feels very, I guess, like a failure, like you feel like you are not measuring up. It may be that you're just really highly driven and you have extreme expectations for yourself, and you get down on yourself if you're not meeting those expectations. So it definitely feels like right now you are just not feeling like you're doing well enough. You're not like where you should be. So definitely measuring yourself up to other people and just feeling like something has not turned out the way that you wanted it to go, putting a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and you are your own hero, which I love to see. This is you coming to the rescue for yourself and others. You're the person that if somebody needs help, like, you are there. You love to be, I guess, sort of the heroine in other people's stories, love helping. What's coming up as your obstacle is stunted creativity right now. It feels like just some blocks around being able to put out things that are creative and that inspire you. I don't know if you're tired or maybe even a little bored, but it definitely feels like something new needs to happen for you. Some creativity, something that you would be thinking outside of your box. And for your goals, travel is something that's coming up that feels really exciting, seeing the world, and also a lot of self-love and self-growth, and getting together specifically with groups of people who are focused on self-love, maybe in different countries. So I don't know if this is like I don't know, but it's definitely like traveling with people and feeling vulnerable and getting really deep into some emotional healing and self-growth feels really good to me. Feels wonderful. And the great thing about this is it's going to be very healing for you. Like, I think you'll be a leader in some ways in this experience, but it's almost like it's more for you. Like, you're going to get deep into some patterns and some things that come up for you over and over again, and you're going to expel those patterns. You are a little, let me see what this is about actually. You're very giving in some of your relationships and not receiving enough back. It feels like you put a lot of energy out into these relationships, and they may be relationships that you've had for a while, or family where you feel like an obligation to remain friendly with these people. And there's also something that, well, I'm just going to show you the card. And this is how interesting and in-depth and amazing these cards are. So the blindfold and the fact that this person is tied up and surrounded by swords really tells me that there's something that you don't want to see, something that you're not looking at, and it's coming up with this, I don't want to call them retreats, I don't know what they are, but getting together with people to heal. And there's something maybe from childhood or something that you're not wanting to see that has been holding you back, that in these retreats will come up to be healed. So it's definitely like a deeper wound that you may not remember until this healing takes place. And then as your resources, what you have to work with right now, you're extremely optimistic. A child is coming up, a baby coming up, and just joy around this. So family and just enjoying your time with family, deep love and joy and appreciation with family, with children. And that probably in the next 2 or 3 years, I don't know if that's something that you want, but it's coming up here. And you are very easily bored and easily dissatisfied. Definitely something that works in your favor, though. It's good because you need a lot of stimulation, and it provides a lot of great content for your viewers because you're never getting into the old stuff. You always keep it new and fresh. And you're definitely someone who learns from your mistakes. So I don't know if like you take inventory of your life and look back and pay attention to the things you've done wrong, but this actually feels like a process, something that you do intentionally, like every week or so, like looking at the things that aren't working to make sure that you're learning from your mistakes. In the past, receiving some sort of new income, a check, something coming in that was maybe a few $1,000s that was exciting and new. So that was in the past, and possibly a new source of income too that feels unexpected, something that you aren't planning for right now. So the next 6 weeks feel a little challenging. Lots going on, lots of little things to keep up with, and you feeling like you really have to be on your game. You're keeping up with all of it, but it's a lot of stuff in the next 6 weeks. And it would be amazing if you could ask for help, maybe from a virtual assistant or somebody who can get the bulk of some of that done for you, because it kind of feels like you've planned a lot of things, and because of this tendency to need more stimulation and to get bored really easily, you overplan and you have a lot of things that you want to do, and it's great, but then when it all comes up, it kind of feels like anxiety provoking, like a little bit too much. So asking for help would be awesome. You had someone coming up too who is I guess sneaky and manipulative would be the words that I would use. And just, I guess, preventing you from taking some of the actions that you want to take. We're going to ask about that later, but it's coming up as somebody who's just taking advantage of you. And then your position, the position of you, the role that you play in your life, sort of the character that you play in your story. You are extremely emotionally intelligent, very wise. You would make a great counselor, great therapist. You are sort of narrowing down right now, so getting rid of some things, cleansing out your house, and also this new source of income is coming up, and another child. So it looks like a girl child, and very you're very good at relationships, establishing relationships, and going back to school is also coming up again. So I don't know, higher learning of some kind coming up, probably in the next, I'd say 9 months to a year. And then you have other people, your work. Interesting. So just to give you a visual, you have this card, which is, you know, not, these guys probably not having the best day. And really what that card is about is chaos and things falling apart. But I love that card because it's not about things falling apart and everything being in ruins. It's more about things falling apart that need to fall apart in order to rearrange themselves into an upgraded life for you. So in the next few weeks, a lot of stuff going on that feels, well, a lot like anxiety provoking. I feel anxious when I think about it, and it just feels like this, like even more stuff, maybe even unexpected, chaotic things all happening all at once, and different things falling apart that were meant to fall apart. Like, I think anyway, when I look at this, I think of relationships. There are certain relationships that you have in your life, maybe friendships, or it does feel like there needs to be cutting ties with certain people in your life. They just bring drama and chaos, and they don't feel like they're actual friends. It feels more like they're either using you, or just, it just doesn't feel very genuine to me. And then you coming up in this as being super, I don't know if you can see her, if you get a vibe of her, but she's super intuitive and very in tune with the cycles of nature. So you're witchy yourself. You have a witch vibe and very close to the earth, and this feeling of like barefoot on the ground, like needing to be in nature and enjoy that. And especially like when it starts getting cooler, when the weather just starts getting a little bit cooler, just enjoying that feeling. And you have someone coming up here as being overly critical, and it may be even you. I think that you, well, this is kind of difficult to say, and you can totally cut it out. So there's this feeling of you putting on a really happy face, but inwardly a critic in you that feels, that sort of undermines you a little bit. That's never good enough. It's never good enough, and it's a lot of some negative self-talk that I feel like you're working on it. I feel like it's definitely something that you're working on, but it comes from maybe family stuff. I don't know, it comes from past stuff. So then the next 6 months, which is the good stuff, the juicy stuff. So putting down some of these burdens, what I feel is going to happen in the next 6 months is getting rid of all of the stuff that doesn't matter to you, all of the stuff that isn't working, like really 80-20ing your life, and narrowing it down to only a few things that are making money, that are making you happy, and focusing only on those priorities. I see you either getting editors to edit your videos and VAs to do social media stuff. Like, it feels like you're going to be delegating a lot more, which is very needed, because I feel like there's, in the next few weeks, just this overwhelm that's going to happen. Also, a spiritual awakening, and really being able to pay attention to your dreams and to get messages from dreams, get messages from the world around you. I feel like that's available to you now, but definitely in the next 6 months, a skill that's going to be honed. And also more of this higher learning. You, this is about communication, the writing that I was talking about earlier. Interesting. Okay, so it feels like it's unemotional. So it doesn't actually feel like a book to me. It almost feels like, I guess reaching out to different people, maybe, hold on, sorry. All right, so it feels like reaching out to different people who can collaborate with some kind of live thing that you want to do. And it feels sunny and very much geared toward people who need healing. So like maybe getting somebody who is, I don't know, an energy healer, and then someone who's a, I don't know, some kind of motivational speaker or something, and getting all of these people together in one place and creating some sort of live event, like a collaborative live thing. That's what I feel in the next 6 months. And it feels really joyful, and I feel like you'll be in the sunshine. This feels like it's going to be a big project and something that really, well, it's definitely not boring. It's definitely not boring. It feels like it will sort of spark you to life and really ignite your soul. It feels purpose driven and important. So yeah, now, so that's sort of like what I see. And now we dig a little deeper. You can ask questions. You don't even have to necessarily tell me specifically what the questions are. You can just have a question in mind and I'll pull cards. So yeah, now the fun stuff.
Wow. Now the fun stuff. That was so much fun. That was mind blowing because every single word that you just uttered was spot on. Like I was laughing because it was just so incredible at how accurate that all was.
Really? Oh, good.
Yeah, like yeah, I don't think there's any of it where I thought, I'm not sure if that's like, it was all spot on. And what's really interesting from my, from being on the receiving end of that is that, how can I describe this? I was amazed at how you were able to intuitively pick up on all of that. And it also, apart from the lovely news of a little couple of babies, but even that, like, I know that's coming in the next 3 years. So it was almost like every single thing that you shared, I already knew. And
Yeah.
and I don't mean to say that as if it takes any value away, because that you just showed me that all of the thoughts and feelings and intuition that I have about where I'm going, how I'm feeling about how things are right now, how it's gonna keep on getting a bit more overwhelming, but then how I'm definitely going to go through a bit of a efficiency purge, like get rid of anything that's unnecessary. Like all of what you just said is exactly how I know it's going to pan out in the next 2 to 3 years. And the stuff about travel and the stuff about being somewhere sunny and running a retreat. I mean, there's multiple things like that in the works that I'm not currently working on, but it's like an upcoming project,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's interesting. You had it in your mind, and that's really what tarot reading is. The cards have no power in themselves. I'm just using them as tools to tell the story, really, is all it is. And luckily, you're very conscious and you're consciously creating and you're consciously aware of where your thoughts are. That's like what you do. So it's, I think, even more of a tool to be able to say, okay, well, there actually are some people in your life maybe that are taking advantage, and to be able to look at that negative stuff so you can be even more aware.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, because I get those feelings about, and it's just like, when your mind wanders and you just kind of play out, how to deal with that situation? You know, is it too bold to cut off completely? Am I a bad person if I don't, you know, pour love into that person? Like, you know, you hear the advice, and I give that advice myself, you know, like, if you can cut out toxic people, cut them out. And then there's another part of me which feels a little bit bad for doing that, you know. So almost just to hear it, you know, you and the cards being a sounding board gives me more yeah, permission to go with those gut feelings that I've already got, you know.
Oh yeah, and you definitely do. And can I give you a really cool tool to use for yes and no questions? Super cool tool. So if you imagine a closet filled with clothes that you would not be caught dead wearing, like something that somebody slept in for 3 years and never washed, like really gross stuff and just ugly. That closet is a no for you. What color would you associate with that closet?
The doors of the closet or the inside?
Closet, just like what, like when you think of that closet, what's a color that comes to mind?
Like a muted, dark, mulchy, gray, brown, green, kind of just like dull and dark.
Okay, all right. So like, it's almost like an olive color. That's what I think of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the no is olive, and then a yes closet would be filled with the most beautiful clothing, like gorgeous shoes, gorgeous purses, gorgeous jewelry, like the best clothes that would fit you perfectly. What color is that?
Oh, it's bright rainbow, glitter, sequins, just the complete opposite, just so vibrant and saturated.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So when you have a yes or no question, like, is it better for me if I cut this person out in my life? Like, just think of that person. What color are they?
Pretty sludgy.
Yeah,
Pretty
exactly.
olive.
Exactly. So they're a no person
Wow.
for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just speaks in the language of the subconscious mind. Little tools like that, like the subconscious mind doesn't speak in our language. It needs symbols, it needs colors and numbers, and it doesn't understand when we just ask a question. It doesn't know how to answer other than in symbols. So if you give it a symbol to answer you with, a yes or no symbol, it's glad to answer any question that you have. So yeah, there are
Wow.
all kinds of little
Thank
tricks
you.
like that. Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you. So I can really use that in making all sorts of choices and decisions, is sort of looking at what color, what wardrobe it would better coordinate with. And
Exactly. Yeah.
wow, thank you for that.
You're
Great.
welcome. Yeah. So what do you feel? Do you have questions or want to dig a little deeper on anything?
Um, let me think. I mean, so you're definitely, it's so accurate what you were saying about having a lot on, but that is also of my own doing, and I wouldn't really want it any other way. I've always been, so I share that, you know, when we were all at school, right? And when you're in the early years of school, you have all the different subjects. And then as you grow older, you're told, now you need to only pick this many. And then as you like, then in your final years of school, you just pick 3 or 4. And then at university or college, then you just usually, you major in one thing, right? And I used to always find that so, it just didn't fit right, because I thought, but I don't just like one thing, and I don't just want to do one thing with my life. But all of the mentors and influences were kind of guiding me towards this seemingly, you know, just one track road that all of us at school had to choose. So when I went to university, I ended up choosing a joint honors course so I could do two things, two subjects, because the idea of spending 4 years just focusing on one subject, my brain just, that really does not stimulate me, you know? And so I know that I'm still like that. And that's why I have multiple projects always, multiple businesses always. It makes every single day nice and fun. And it means that every couple of hours I get to do something that's totally different. But recently, with that way of being, then I've also, you know, really leveled up my expectations of what I want to achieve and where I want to go and where I want my quality of life to be in a couple of years. So that's where the pressure, I've put pressure on myself to excel at all of these multiple things and to also say yes to more of them. But what's different about where I'm at now compared to where I was at a few years ago is a few years ago, I had a lot on my plate and didn't see results coming from any of it. Whereas what's now a new energy is that I'm putting effort into these different areas and they're all, you know, it's very rewarding. Everything's growing. There's always this voice in my head which is saying, if you did just have a laser focus on one thing and you push everything to the side, maybe you could really flourish at that much faster. But then maybe, so I'm in this kind of, you know, is it right or is it wrong? Or are there different right or wrong approaches for different people? You know, in terms of, am I inadvertently maybe holding myself back by spreading myself thin? Or is it good for me to follow, you know, filling my palette up with so many different rich experiences and be okay with the fact that they're all simultaneously unfolding at a pretty good pace, not at lightning speed like part of me wants them to, but it means that every day I get to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so interesting because you have the card of a lot of different things. I mean, this is like somebody looking at all of these cups that are full of really cool, sparkly kind of things coming up next to using your intellect. And then you had not following your heart, not paying attention to your emotional guidance. You are someone whose soul thrives on having a lot of different things going on. It almost feels like food choices, like even your food choices need to be like varied and big. You need a lot of stimulation. I think if you try to narrow it down, I think you'll get bored. And I actually think I think that's where, I don't want to say failure because I hate that word, but just where you wouldn't be satisfied. It wouldn't be the life that you want to live. I think you need multiple projects. You need multiple businesses. You need to be stimulated in that way. And I don't feel that it's true at all that you won't be successful. I'm going to ask like, yeah, so this is really, I mean, it's a lot for you. You definitely can get like, you know, there's an enjoyable pace and then sometimes it gets a little bit much for sure. And it's a lot to deal with and it's hard for you to rest. That's the big thing really, is like, you don't have much downtime. You don't take time to just be. It's not about the 1,000 different things that you want to do. I really feel that that's right for your soul, for you. It's authentically right for you. Okay. It's the inability right now to take a breather. That's the problem. And also to get into your head about it and fool yourself into believing that you need to focus on only one thing and doubting yourself. That's also the problem. It's more like if you're going to narrow down, it would be more about like, what's right for me? What feels good for me in my heart? And then following those things and let it be 10 things. If that's what it is, I think it's great. And I think that it is all going to grow all at once. And it might reach a point where you're overwhelmed and dealing with a lot of things and you're going to need to hire outside sources. But I just feel like it's all going to just keep getting bigger and expanding outward too. So no, I don't think that's a detriment to you at all. I think it's a good thing. It's exactly what you need to be doing. Yeah.
Thank you. That is beautiful confirmation. And as you say those words, it's like there's something inside of me that's like nodding and agreeing and being like, yes,
Yeah.
what you said.
Yes, totally.
I asked,
Yeah.
just with as we were beginning, I asked all of my guides to, you know, tell me what I needed to hear and help you to help me to give me that clarity that I've been wanting to get from them. But, you know, we're not yet like in full communication. They show me a lot of signs. I'm not yet able to just have full on conversations with them. So all of these opportunities, I know they jump at opportunities like this to, you know, find a way to communicate.
Yeah, totally. And I love that you talk to your guides. I love that. I think that when people try to solve their own problems without asking for help from guides, I think guides actually get frustrated. Like they're sitting around waiting for you to ask them to help. So definitely ask. I love that. I love that you did that. That's awesome. Yeah. I ask too. I always ask. Like I don't feel like I ever want to do the reading. I always say, please read through me. Like give this person exactly what they need to hear, and step by step. Like I really want to be clear. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. And duly noted. I'll call on you more because I know it gets annoying sometimes.
Yeah. Yes, they're waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, I mean, no other specific questions are coming up because you've just given me so much confirmation and clarity. And like as you said, there's a lot that I'm doing at the moment, which is great, and I feel like I'm thriving, and I feel like I'm being fulfilled. And then it was those doubts where, because you know, when you're running businesses and stuff, I'm sure you can relate when you're doing things that are what 99% of people are not doing. There is a lot of the way society says is the best approach that we need to question or completely go against if it doesn't work for us. So I think that's where those doubts were coming in. I was like, so this is how I feel and this is what feels good for me, but I've heard people say that you should do it like this, and I've heard people say that this would be the best approach to achieve a goal, or you know, but just having this conversation with you to hear that it's not a one size fits all you know, deal. It is about just listening and feeling what feels right and going with that. So you've really answered a big question for me there. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah, it's so interesting because you're right. The 99% of people who don't do it are always the ones telling the 1% who are doing it what they should be doing. It's so funny to me. Yeah, it's very interesting. And I almost feel like if everybody's going this way, I want to go that way. Like I'm going to go the other way. I don't want to be trapped in what society is doing.
Right.
Doesn't feel like you're doing too well. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So actually,
You are awesome. You're awesome. Like, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you. Awesome. Thank you. I mean, it's just all perfect timing, you know, it just felt right. So I really appreciate reaching out. One last quick little question has popped up, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
And it's on the topic of taking down time, or, you know, sitting and being present, because I definitely have a lot more practice with doing.
Yeah.
And again, that's another sort of contradiction within the personal development and law of attraction world, sort of like the one school of thought, which is about, you know, the law of attraction still requires action, especially if you have a belief where you believe that more action will lead to more results for you. And then there's the other school of thought, which is just, you know, surrender and let it unfold, and everything will happen in divine timing, and just, you know, even just the power of thought could change your life completely. And I kind of see value in both. I sit somewhere in between the two. I've certainly witnessed that some of the biggest and best opportunities have come into my life, bing, just like that.
Yeah.
But then I also do, you know, just thrive off the constant stimulation of creating. And like you said, there was a bit of stunted creativity or block there. I think it's because everything that I'm running, projects and business wise, came from an initial inspired idea of creation. But then my approach is, in order to see it through, there's got to be a lot of consistency and discipline involved in building those things up. So there are many days when I'm not inspired, but I'm still doing. And so that agenda is very jam-packed. And most mornings I make time for a morning routine. And I love having that time where I'm really just, you know, filling myself up before the day begins. Some days I skip it. Today, for example, there wasn't much of a morning routine before the tasks and the to-do list got started. So maybe any answers that you have around that part of my life that I could definitely improve on would be much appreciated.
Okay. All right. I mean, I have it's funny, questions like these, like I have personal answers. I'm like, oh, you should try this, but I don't go there. Like I want to ask cards. So
Okay.
basically you're asking what you can do to have that downtime and to just be like, what would work for you? What would work best?
What would work best? And also some advice on how I could feel okay with taking downtime.
Oh,
There's
okay.
always that thing in the back of my mind where it's like, well, you could be doing this though. You could be,
Yes.
you know, recording 6 more TikTok videos. You could be editing the documentary right now. There's always something that I could be doing more
Yeah.
of. That's the thing with like being an entrepreneur, right? You have the freedom to work 24 hours a day, and you don't have a boss to tell you it's okay, you can stop now. You
Yeah.
know? So that's something that I'd like some clarity on.
I get caught in that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if, I think that's a personality type because I totally hear you. All right. So let's see. Oh, oh, wow. That's perfect. Okay. So I wish, well, for any of your viewers who know the cards, this is what you got. So this is about self-love and loving others and giving love. So sort of like being love to give love and just overfilling yourself with love. And also water. So baths or tea or anything where you would be near water or in water even. And then this is listening to your higher self and emotional healing. So what I'm feeling for you very much is this is all about emotions and finding a way to just sit and have some emotional purification and cleansing. Just briefly loving the whole earth. I don't know if you've ever heard of loving kindness meditation. I think for you, because of your personality type, and actually also because of this card, which is like little things, I would suggest taking just like 5 or 10 minutes to just feel love for everything, like just this all-encompassing love for every creature and just expand it out to the whole planet. Sorry, are you still there? There you are. Okay.
Okay.
So expanding it out to the whole planet, and also taking like 5 minutes to listen to your guidance. So what I do and what this definitely feels like to me is this heart-based, heart-centered way of listening to your guidance. So tuning into your heart, literally breathing in and out through your heart, and just asking, what is it that I most need to know right now? Or getting specific and saying, how can I, you know, start this new thing? I mean, you can definitely ask specific questions. I only ask, what is it that I need to know right now? Because I feel like there's always something I'm not seeing. So taking just a few minutes every day to emotionally cleanse, practice some forgiveness and love for the whole planet, and just tune into that guidance every day. That would be perfect. I think it would be definitely way too much to ask you to do more than like 15 or 20 minutes right now. I just think that you're just not in a place where you would be comfortable enough to sit still for that long. You've got a lot going on. So it would feel wrong, and then you're just squirming, and it sort of defeats the purpose. Right. So yeah, just a few minutes of loving the planet and tuning in. That would be perfect. Yeah.
That sounds lovely. I can't wait.
Yes. Yeah. It is. It's good stuff. And of course, giving too. So, you know, as far as spirituality goes, I think a lot of times, like, some people get stuck in feeling like they have to sit down and meditate for hours in order to be spiritual. But this is more suggesting, like, just give your presence, give love, give your time, a smile, even, like, just practice giving. There's this awesome book that changed my life. Are you a reader? Do you read? It's an audiobook too.
Yeah.
So there's a book called The Surrender Experiment. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I've heard of it, and here it comes up again.
So it will blow your mind. It changed my life. And I definitely do things and see things a little bit differently just from reading that book. I read it, I think, maybe 4 times just to get back into the frame of mind that this man is in, because he just decided to say yes to everything, basically. Like, everything that came up, he was just like in servant mode. And he's like a millionaire now. Like, just everything fell into place for him. It's an incredible book. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Yes. You're welcome.
I'll download it.
Yeah, it comes up multiple times for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Definitely. I get that with books a lot. I'm like,
yes,
okay, I get it. I really need to listen or read to that now, you know?
I get it with books a lot too. That's funny. Yeah, I'm like, okay, all right, I'll get the audiobook because I don't have time to sit and listen. So I'll do it while I'm walking the dog. I mean, to read. I don't have time to sit and read. So yeah, I walk the dog and listen to my audiobooks. Yeah.
Well, that sounds lovely. What kind of dog do you have?
I have an English lab. And he's just
lovely.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's a sweetheart. He's a big, lazy dog. Yeah, he's awesome.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Cuddly.
Yes, exactly. Very cuddly. Yes.
I love dogs.
Too much sometimes. I was sitting on the couch, and he can go in and out as he pleases. I leave the door open during the day. Yeah. And he has all this space that he can choose to be, but he chooses to be leaning up against me with his face right here. I'm trying to work, and I can feel his breath. I'm like, why? Why do you need to be sitting right here? Yeah.
Oh, that is just love. That's just so much love.
Just, yes.
Like a clingy child.
Yeah, totally. Yes. Oh. I have those too. So yeah.
Really? How many?
I have 3.
You have 3 children.
Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah, they're awesome too. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Not as cool as the dog though.
Wow.
That was perfect. I loved every minute of it. You have such a bright soul. And I need to tell you that every morning I do an exercise where I reach out with my energy, and I send what's called a universal email. And I'll just say, my name is Rhiannon, and I'm doing this work. And if anybody out there wants to, be a part of it, find me, basically. But I do it only energetically. And I did it Yeah, I did it in the morning on the day that you emailed, because I don't do it every day. And I totally felt you. Like, I was more excited about this Zoom call than I have been about pretty much any other collaboration or anything I've done with anyone else. So yeah, I was psyched. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, this last, however long it's been, almost an hour, I guess, it's just flowed. Like, it's flown by. And I mean, I just basically got to sit back and listen. I know you were you gave a lot more just then, but I've really thoroughly enjoyed that. So thank you so much for doing that for me, and I'm sure loads of people watching will also have got a lot from it too.
Awesome. Yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. This
Yeah,
was great. Thank you.
great. So I will obviously, for those of you watching, I will put all of Rhiannon's details in the description if you guys want to connect with her. If you felt like this video was your energetic email where you were pulled towards and drawn towards Rhiannon, nothing is a coincidence. I certainly believe that. So I'm sure that this was also, maybe that's why it was such a strong pull for you, because maybe this conversation is going to help other people to connect who need to connect. So
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
nice. Wonderful. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. How did you find that experience? What did you learn about me? What did you learn about tarot reading? And what did you learn about yourself and your journey? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And before you go, remember to hit that subscribe button and ring my bell so that you never miss one of my future videos. Thank you for being on this journey with me. I appreciate you and love you very, very much. Until next time, bye.